All right, so for number one, we're looking at this little bit, and the sentence currently reads, in the winter of 1968, scientists David Schindler and Greg Brunskill poured nitrates and phosphates into Lake 227. This is one of the 58 freshwater bodies that compose Canada's remotely located experimental lakes area. So the issue with it right now, there is an issue, and the issue is that it's a run-on sentence. You have your first complete sentence, which is from in the winter to Lake 227, because your subject is scientists and your verb is poured. So the complete sentence ends at the comma, and then your second complete sentence starts because it goes this, which is a subject, and then is, which is your verb. So you have two complete sentences that are separated only by a comma. That makes a run-on. So we can't keep it as is. We need to change something. So, well, let's just go through the options here. What if we did B? It looks a little bit tempting maybe because there is actually a period here. Okay, so a period is one of the ways we can actually separate two complete sentences. So if you did 227 period, not bad, but it goes on to say which is one. If you start the sentence by saying which is one of the 58 freshwater bodies, that is a fragment. That will not be a complete sentence because which is a pronoun. So basically, if you put a period here and then start with which is one, you're basically lacking a subject. So this kind of fixes your issue of run on, but then creates another issue by having the second part not actually be a complete sentence, which means that's grammatically incorrect. So B is out for that reason. What about C? C is, so they also try to fix it here with a period. Okay, so they put a period, starting a new sentence with just one. So one of the 58 freshwater bodies that compose Canada's remotely located experimental lakes area. I mean, it even sounds incomplete, right? And yes, this would actually, split the two sentences, but it would again create a second sentence that is not actually a complete sentence, because in this case, it does have a subject, which would basically be one of the, it would basically, this entire thing is the subject, but then you're lacking a verb. So the issue here is that basically all of this describes your subject, which is one, right? So your entire subject is one of the 58 freshwater bodies that compose Canada's remotely located experimental lakes area, but then there's no verb to follow it up. So C is out because that would again create a fragment here, an incomplete sentence. So that leaves us with D, and D actually does solve our issues because while it doesn't split the two sentences up, it doesn't put a period or anything, it just keeps the comma. But what it does is by putting one right here, it makes the second part an incomplete sentence as we just established. But that's totally fine because now you have a comma here, so you don't need it to be a complete sentence because now it just sort of adds on to the previous sentence and it becomes one continuous complete sentence with your subject being scientist, verb poured, and then there's no more complete sentences here. So the rest of this whole thing would just be a descriptor of your Lake 227. So it makes a perfectly fine continuous sentence. So D is our answer here.